Welcome to another episode of Terry's Notes, and today we are going to be looking at simple factorizing. So the first thing we need to look at is, or recap, is how do we remove brackets. Now let's say we have x open brackets x minus 2 and we want to remove the brackets. We need to take the term on the outside of the brackets, so we have to take x multiplied by x and then x multiplied by minus 2. So x multiplied by x gives us x squared, x multiplied by minus 2 gives us minus 2x. Okay, now essentially what factorizing is a reverse process. So we would start off with an expression like x squared minus 2x, and you can be asked to factorize this expression. Let me give you another example. Let's say we want to remove the brackets in this case here. So we will take 2a multiplied by ab, and that will give us 2a squared b. Then we have to take 2a and multiply it by 3p, and that will give us plus 6ap. So when we factorize, we move in this direction. So we'll be given this expression and asked to write it in this form. Okay, so let's do a few examples. Okay, suppose we are asked to factorize 2x cubed minus 8x. Now in this expression we have two terms. We have 2x cubed and we have minus 8x. So the first thing we need to do, we have the coefficient of x squared is 2 and the coefficient of 8 here of x is 8. So we need to find the HCF of 2 and 8, and the HCF of 2 and 8 is 2. What the HCF is the highest number that can go into 2 and 8. So 2 can go into 2 and 2 can also go into 8. Alright, now if you look at the two terms, we have x cubed and we have x. So the HCF of x cubed and x is really x. So we're going to put open brackets x minus 4. Sorry, this will be x squared minus 4. Okay, now you can do a quick check and you can see that 2x multiplied by x squared will give us 2x cubed, and 2x multiplied by minus 4 will give us minus 8x. Okay, now this can be factorized even further. Okay, there's another video which demonstrates how to factorize when we have a difference of two squares. So this will be 2x open brackets. Now x squared minus 4 can be written as x squared minus 2 squared, which is the difference of two squares. And when we factorize the difference of two squares, that becomes x plus 2, x minus 2. So therefore this expression now becomes okay. Now let's do another one. We want to factorize 2x cubed y plus 6x squared y squared. Again, we have numbers here 2 and 6. The HCF of 2 and 6 is 2. Let me deal with the x terms. So we have x cubed and you have x squared. The HCF here would be x squared. And when we look at the y terms, we have y and we have y squared. So this will be y open brackets. So 2x squared y has to be multiplied by x to give us our first term, 2x cubed y, plus we need to get 6, so that we need to put a 3 here, and we need to put a y here. Now, if you're asked to factorize, you can easily check that your answer is correct. All you need to do is to just remove the brackets. So 2x squared y multiplied by x will give us 2x cubed y, which is what the first term was, and 2x squared y multiplied by plus 3y will give me 6x squared y squared, which will give me my second term. Okay, so when you're asked to factorize, you can easily double check your answer by removing the brackets. Let's look at another example. In this case, we have 6a squared b cubed plus 12a to the power 4b. So we look at the numbers first. So we have 6 and 12. The HCF of 6 and 12 is 6. We look at the a terms. So we have a squared and a4. So the HCF will be a squared. Then we look at the b terms. We have b cubed and b. So the HCF will be b. And we're going to go open brackets. So 6a squared b multiplied by what will give me 6a squared b cubed. All I need to do is put b squared here plus the next term is 12a to the power 4b. So we know we need to put 2 because 6 by 2 will give me the 12, and I need to get a4, so I need to put a squared, and we already have the b. So again, you can double check your answer by removing the brackets. So 6a squared b multiplied by b squared will give me 6a squared b cubed, which is what the first term was. And if we take 6a squared b and we multiplied this by 2a squared, we end up with 12a to the power 4b, which is what this term was. Okay. Now, if you're having trouble figuring out what has to go in a bracket, right, like how I knew this was b squared, all you have to do is take, let's say, 6a squared b cubed over 6a squared b, and this will give me 6 will cancel, the a squared will cancel, and b into b cubed will give me b squared. So that is how I got this term here. Okay, in the case of the second term, we would have had to take 6a b over, sorry, 12a to the power 4b over 6a squared b. So this will give me 6 will go into 12 2 times, a squared will go into a4 e squared times, and my b's will cancel. So this is how I got b squared, and this is how I got 2a squared. Okay, if we go back to the previous one, we can see that we would have had to take 2x cubed y and divide this by 2x squared y. 2's will cancel, the y's will cancel, and x squared into x cubed is x. So that is how I got this term here. And 6x squared y squared over 2x squared y. 2 can go into 6 3 times. The x squared will cancel, and y can go into y squared y times. Okay, so that is how I got 3y here. Let's look at another one. X squared minus 5x. Now, the only thing we have common to both of them is the x. So the HCF of x squared and x is really x. And now to figure out what's going in the brackets, we have to take x squared over x, which will give me x. So if I need to put x here, and to get the next term, it'll be 5x over x, which will give me 5. Okay, so this will be, so this one is pretty straightforward. Let's say we have to factorize this now. We have an e term here and an e term here. So this is e squared, and we have e. So the HCF here would be e, and we have a b term and a b squared term. So all we can take out is ab. Okay, again, to figure out what goes in the brackets, we're going to take 5 a squared b over a b. B's will cancel, and a will go into a squared a times, so this will give me 5a. Therefore, I'm going to have 5a in the bracket, and then to get the other term, it'll be a b squared over a b. The a's will cancel, and the b would go into b squared b times, so this will be plus b. Okay. Let's say we have to factorize this one now. We have an x squared term and we have an x inside here. So the HCF would be x, brackets, and to get the first term, it'll be x squared over x, which will give us x. To get the next term, it'll be x y over x. The x's will cancel, and we end up with y. So it'll just be x minus y. Let's do another one. The HCF of 7 and 14 is 7. Then we have an m and m squared. So the HCF here would just be m. And we have p squared and we have p. So therefore, we'll have 7mp on the outside. Open brackets. How do we get the first term? We take 7m p squared over 7mp. 7's will cancel, the m would cancel, and the p would go into p squared p times. So therefore we put a p here. To get the other term, it will be 14m squared p over 7mp. Okay, so the p's will cancel. The 7 will go into 14 2 times, and the m would go into m squared m times. So it'll be p plus 2m inside the brackets. Let's look at another one. The only thing we have common in this case is the y terms. So the HCF of y squared and y is really y. So to get the first term, it'll be 4y squared over y, which would give us 4y. To get the second term, it'll be y over y, which will give us 1. So this will just be plus 1. Let's do another simple one. The only thing I have common to both terms is the x, and the first term will just be 3xy over x. The x would cancel with this x, and this will give us 3y. So this is 3y, and then we have x over x, which will give us 1, so it's minus 1. Let's look at this one here, y squared minus 3y. So we have y being common to both, and the HCF of y squared and y is y. To get the first term, it'll be y squared over y, which will be y. And then we have 3y over y. Y's will cancel. We end up with 3. Okay. Okay, so we have a y squared term and we have a y term. The HCF here will be y, and the first term will be 2y squared over y, which will give us 2y. So I'm going to put 2y here, and the next term will be 3y over y. The y's will cancel and we end up with 3, so it's plus 3. And our last example, we have 15x squared y minus 20xy squared. The HCF of 15 and 20 will be 5. The HCF of x squared and x is x, and the HCF of y and y squared is y. So to get the first term, it'll be 15x squared y over 5xy. The y's will cancel. The 5 will go into 15 3 times, and the x will go into x squared x times. So this will be 3x. And to get the second term, it'll be 20xy squared over 5xy. The x's will cancel. The 5 will go into 20 4 times, and the y would go into y squared y times. So it'll be minus 4y. Okay. Now, the key with simple factorizing is that you have to practice as many as you can. After a while, you can just look at the expression and you will be able to factorize it.